I am watching every 90s anime in release order starting with the winter season of 1990. If a show released before that, I won't be covering it. If a show has a season 1 that came out before 1990, I won't be watching season 2 or any of the movies or specials that came out in the 90s. I watched the entirety of every show minus a few exceptions here and there. I'll cover those when I get there. And this is part 7. First up, released on October 25th, 1991, Ucchare Goshogawara. We got a 50-minute runtime on this thing and it's unsubbed. And this is Gosho. He's a super nice and quiet guy. He's also the only member of his school's sumo club, and he trains really hard, but in order to take part in competitions, he needs more members, and it's his last year of high school, and he's never competed before, so he decides to give recruiting his all, and he goes to other clubs and tries to recruit members from there, and he challenges the head of the judo team, Kaoru, and even though he loses their match, he impresses Kaoru so much that he joins the club. And Kaoru also looks like a fucking adult, and this fella Nano, he sees that happen and decides that he wants to join too, even though he's mad scrawny. Look at all that scrawn. Takayuki from the wrestling club sees them training and challenges Gosho. After a match, he loses and joins up. They need one more member, so Nana shows them this big guy, Raiden. He doesn't want to do it, but Nana challenges him to go, and Raiden loses, so he has to join. Now they have a full roster, so they go to a nearby school with an expert sumo club and challenge them to an exhibition match. Most of our guys are complete amateurs though, they don't even know the basics, but they're great athletes, so while they don't know the rules, they best a few members of the other team, and the other team's coach is starting to worry. And then it comes down to Gosho. He's the only one left. He takes out 2 of the enemy, and they gotta put in their ace, this beefer, and Gosho rams his head straight into the big guy's tummy, but he gets thrown down and loses the match. Then the enemy ace walks outside, but his teammates keep talking shit and disrespecting our guys, so Takayuki kicks one in the head, and a fight breaks out. Yeah, we ain't good at sumo, but we will beat that ass. Well, they get thrown out after that, and on the way out, Takayuki and Kaoru see the other team's ace throwing up. He got hit in the tummy so hard he throwed up. They get fired up. They're gonna take the training more seriously now, so they decide to run home instead of taking the bus. And the credits roll and we get a montage of them training. There's a funny little sports show, there's a manga, and I'm sure he becomes the best sumo ever. I give it. Anime training is crazy. Gosho bangs his head into a metal plate that he just put up against the pole, concussion. The other beefer rams a swinging log into his stomach. And you know what? They're both right. Out of 10. Up next, releasing November 8th, 1991, Tsuki ga noboru. This is 45 minutes long. One time when this man was young, he saw the moon from this rural countryside. It was so beautiful, he never forgot it. He took it in and loved it. Now, as a father, he decides to take his daughter. Let that moon change her life. He takes her out there and they're marching up this hill like they're on a mission. When they get out there on the side of this hill, they're on this farmer's land. He asks what's up, and they explain it to him. Oh, that's so nice. Would you like some pocket chocolate, little girl? She just wants her to play her Game Boy though. Nah, I would want both. And the old man says, huh, we loved chocolate when I was a kid. You two mind if I tell you a story? The dad says, nah, we just want to see the moon, man. What? Piece of advice. Sometimes old people have neat stories, especially in moments like these. They let him tell it. Back when he was just a boy, the war was going on, and their little farm village had an iron mine that they made the people slave away at until they died. Cities were bombed, and as a boy, he saw the harshness of war. Now the dad and daughter are all like, whoa, yeah, bet you glad you let him start telling that story now. Some foreign soldiers were caught and forced to work the mines. They were working them to death. One day he went out swimming and almost drowned, but the soldiers saved him, and it turns out they were all nice people. He wanted to return their kindness. Then later he let some tomatoes float down the stream down to the soldiers, hoping it would get to them. He started going out there occasionally, sending down all kinds of fruits. Well, one day he had nothing left to send, and they were watching from down the river expecting something, but when he had nothing, something special happened. The soldiers started T-posing and doing their arms like an airplane. A silly little gesture, but a pretty one. Who wants to be in an airplane with me? Then he sent some watermelon down the river, and when his granddad sees that, he loses it. But when he sees that he was doing it for a good reason, he says, heh, you aren't a bad person, kid. The war ends and the prisoners are freed. Then they fly over the village and everybody is scared. Rightfully so, because they get their revenge. They drop bombs and rain hellfire. Nah, I'm lying. Everyone runs inside scared except the little boy. He does the hand thingy, and the planes do it too. Then they drop a bunch of little chocolates out of their planes and canned goods. They paid the boy back for his kindness, and the story is done. After the old man's done telling the story, the little girl asks for one of those chocolates, and the moon has risen. The daughter looks up at the stars and does the plane thing. The stars looking like falling chocolates. What a wholesome little story. I give it war. Out of 10. Up Next, releasing November 9th, 1991, The Two Lots. This show stretched itself out to 29 episodes and is based on the children's novel Lisa and Lottie, created by Eric Kastner. That book is also what the 1998 movie The Parent Trap is based on. Isn't that neat? I've never seen that movie. But you know what I have seen? 29 episodes of this show. There's a summer camp that kids attend and Louise is there having a fun summer. She's got her friends from school. Louise is real tough and stands up for people. It doesn't like people touching her hair. Well, another group of girls shows up a week into camp and amongst them is Lot. And everyone notices that Louise and Lot are identical. It causes a big hullabaloo, a ruckus. Everybody's in a stir. At first, Louise is upset and the other girls are like, damn, that new girl sucks. But Steffi here, she says, yo, imagine how she feels. You show up, you didn't do nothing except look the way that you look, and everybody's acting funny towards you. Maybe we should just be nice. That's a life lesson right there. Well, the other girls hear her and go, nah, we gonna mess her up, man. That's another life lesson right there. Tensions are high, so the teachers make the girls sit next to each other to try and acclimate them, and it ain't working. But that night, Lot cries in bed, and Louise pets her to cheer her up until they fall asleep. The next morning, Lot's all smug watching Louise wake up like, oh, you care about me. Later that day, they play dodgeball, and this is an anime, so you know that is wild. Nah, I'm lying. It's super normal. Later, Lot's making a flower crown, and Louise walks up, and they share a moment, and they start hanging out and getting along. They do each other's hair to look alike, and everybody freaks out. Whoa, LOL, no one can tell them apart. It's so fun. So one of the girls goes, I know, and she yanks on both their pigtails, and Louise smacks the shit out of her. Yep, that one's Louise, LOL. Louise and Lot go into town and get their picture taken since this takes place in the 1940s, and that's the only way you could do it back then. Imagine watching this in 1991 and thinking, ha, they gotta go into town to get their picture taken. We just have disposable cameras. We're so far ahead of them. Their picture will be ready in 3 days. Yo, that's fucking wild. They learn that their birthdays are both on October 14th, and so is mine. And Louise only has a dad, while Lot only has a mom, and they look the same. Wait a second. Lot has a picture of her mom, and it's the same picture that Louise's dad has at his house. They are sisters, drawn together by fate to this summer camp. It seems the journey is just beginning. The girls think that if they tell their parents about each other, they won't be allowed to see each other ever again. They don't know why they split up, so they don't know if it's a bad idea. So they come up with a plan. They're gonna switch places when camp is over and live the other one's life. And you know, they actually get pretty well prepared for 10-year-olds. Both of them write everything they can think of down about their lives, people they interact with, how to act around those people. They give each other maps and directions, how to do chores and cook. They're gonna exchange letters every month. On the last day of camp, there's a raffle, and the most coveted prize is these roller skates. And Steffi here, she just learned that her parents are getting divorced. In the 40s, that's devastating. She ends up winning the skates. Oh, the girls whose parents are getting divorced and she's super depressed, she gets some roller skates. Well, doesn't that just make everything better? Who needs a stable home when you're rolling around like a demon in the streets? The next morning is the point of no return. They both get on the other's train, heading toward the other person's life. They get to each other's homes all nervous and excited, and Papa's a super famous maestro while Mama's a good journalist. When Lot gets to Luis's house, Luis's dog doesn't know her. Yo, that's neat and sweet. I love dogs. And they both learned real quick that their parents are good to them, but also very busy at work. Everything's not easy though. You see, Lot can cook and Luis can't. But when Lot cooks as Luis, it's a shock since Luis can't cook. And when Luis cooks as Lot, she can't do it. And it's shocking because why did she suddenly become bad at cooking? That sums up most of the interactions in this show. They start to adjust to each other's lives and become more like the other one so they fit in. One night, Mama goes out alone to cry. She's crying because she isn't there for her other daughter, Louise. She hopes that her life is good. Aw, Louise follows her and cries too. And even though they haven't really met, her mother never forgot about her. And Papa, he has a picture that he keeps in his stuff of both his daughters. He also hasn't forgotten. They want to figure out why their parents split up, but they can never work up the courage to ask. See, they have this dream that their parents get back together and they could be a family. And eventually we learned that they were married and they were happy. Then Papa became more and more famous, busier and busier, and he stopped being at home altogether. So Mama decided to leave, and they left on, shaky terms. Later at school, Louise has to play the piano in front of everyone, but she can't. Lot's the one that's good at piano, but fate intervenes again. Papa and Lot have to go to Munich because he has a concert, and that's where Louise is. So they meet up and do a switch back to be their normal selves. And Lot plays the piano in front of the school and kills it. Before they can switch back, Papa grabs Louise Luis and heads to the hotel. Papa has been seeing this woman and Luis is gonna ask if he's gonna marry her. And he says some deep shit, man. Look, Luis, I love all kinds of stuff. The sky, birds, the sea, the company of a beautiful woman. But marriage? No. As long as you love me, Luis, I'm content with that. That's sweet as hell. Mama goes to Papa's concert because she's there to cover it for her paper. So the girls end up sitting next to each other, but they can't let everybody see them together. And when they try to get out of there, it causes a hamster to run around and cause a ruckus. So Papa gets mad and cancels the concert. And look at this old man just build up to his side. This was nice animation. Well, Mama's supposed to interview Papa, but he doesn't want to, and he's all rude about it. It seems like she's kind of interested in her editor, this other guy, and Papa's interested in Irene a little bit, and the girls are worried that they're moving towards different romances, so they set up a parent trap. They give Mom a letter saying to meet a person at a cafe for lunch, and they give Papa a matching one. Well, the whole meeting gets a bit messed up. When they see each other, they get mad and end up arguing, and Papa storms off. Afterwards, they meet on a bridge, and he apologizes. He says goodbye. She can't even speak. Then the two girls swap back from their switcheroo, and Locke gets back with Papa. Back home, Irene tells Papa that he babies his daughter too much, so he acts mean towards her, and she cries. He's like, ouch, but it's for her own good. Man, Irene is that hoe. That hoe tries to pressure Papa into marrying her, so he caves in and asks her to marry him. What happened to that speech from earlier, man, when you ain't need to get married? He goes home to tell Locke, who hates the news. She's in shambles. Locke goes to Irene's house to ask her not to marry her dad, and she gives her that evil smirk, man, and says, nah. And once I'm your mom, you're going to boarding school. And Locke walks home in the rain. Oh no, doesn't she know this is an anime? She could get deathly ill. Well, 20 minutes in the rain does just that. It gives her a deathly illness. Her father rushes home to be by her side, and the doctor believes it might be shock. Remember when the girls took that picture at the start of the show? The photographer kept it and is going to send it to the newspaper. You see, back then, taking a picture of twins was a pretty rare thing, so he thinks it's neat. Well, the picture gets sent to the office Mama works at, and she starts putting shit together. And then she gets home and calls Luis by her real name, and the two of them start cry hugging. Her mom's happy that she finally got to meet her other daughter. They get worried about Lot and call Papa to explain the whole thing. He tells them that Lot's sick and calling out for her mommy, so they rush over. They get there and Mama holds onto Lot's hand and she wakes up. A Christmas miracle. When I first started watching this, I was like, ugh, another kid's show, whatever. But by the end of it, I'm like, man, when are they gonna get together? They clearly still love each other. Papa ends up staying the night in his atelier, so naturally, I looked up what that word meant. It's a workshop or studio, especially for an artist or designer. Lot gets better and they hang out a bit, and nobody can tell the twins apart except for the parents. That's sweet, but that trifling Irene is still on the prowl. She calls the house and the girls pick up the phone, and they tell her, yeah, Papa will meet you, so just wait in front of his hotel holding 2 umbrellas. Making her look quite silly. Meanwhile, the family hangs out in Father's atelier to listen to Lot play piano. Then the girls leave the parents alone so they can flirt. They talk about their previous issues. She thought he didn't care about her anymore, that he only cared about music. So she decided to say, I'm leaving you, and see how he felt. And he thought she really wanted to leave, so he didn't stop her. Right then at that moment, while they're talking, he leaves for the orchestra, and Mama hears that he's engaged to Irene, so she heads back home all sad. He doesn't know why she's sad. He thinks he did something wrong. And shortly after, he calls Irene to call off the engagement. Well, the girl's birthday is soon, and he asks them what they want. They want parents, man. They want their mother and father to be together, a family. They're sitting there crying while holding him. He looks desperate, so he obliges. He goes to Mama and asks her to marry him. They decide to give it a chance. Mama and Lot are gonna move, so they say goodbye to all their friends, all the people she knows around town. Time passes, and it's Moonstag 14, their birthday. They're gonna do the wedding ceremony the same day as the girl's birthday, so they can all celebrate together and be happy forever. They invite a few friends, and the girls put little imaginary rings on their parents' fingers that they say is all love and whatnot. A very pretty sentiment. Papa moves his atelier closer to their house so he can be closer to home all the time. Mama gets a new job, and the girls go to school. A happy family. During the last episode, they go on a family trip that their dad rushes them all into, even though they really didn't want to go, and it ends up turning into a disaster. They gotta walk in the rain and break into a cabin and eat canned food. Ugh. Like f***ing poor people. Ugh. That night during a storm, a tree gets struck by lightning and falls through the house. It lands on Lot's room, crashing inside of it. They get in there and the floor is about to crumble. Papa goes to get her, and when Mama tries to as well, he says, no, there's no one on earth more important to our children than you. They can't have something happen to you. They can't have anything happen to you. You're too important to me too. And Lot's too scared to jump, but Louise saying how much she loves her gives her the courage, and she grabs her father's hand and he saves her. And everyone's relieved and happy. The next morning, Papa finds a photo of the family when the girls were just babies. That's the reason he wanted to come here, to get that photo. And they laugh and they set off home. The four of them together as a family. And that's where it ends. I give it. At the end of each episode, the narrator comes in and says some beautiful shit like, two strangers brought together by fate, now living in strange circumstances, living with their other parent for the first time. Their adventures are just beginning and their hearts are full of love and wonder. Out of 10. Up next, releasing November 20th, 1991, Miracle Psychic or Seizan. We got 5 episodes and they're unsubbed. The opening is quite the jam. This takes place in the very distant future and opens up with our guy, Seizan. He's beating this monkey demon's ass in the mountains, and this other demon guy who has a Bancho fan, and another one that's a priest tied to a blazing wheel. All enemies that you'll see in Shin Megami Tensei games. Each time he beats one, they poof off. Then a goddess comes down and says some shit to him. Some serious shit. She tells him he has to collect 3 items: the Shadow Sword, the Forlorn Hope Mirror, and the Orb of Bast. Then she turns into a phoenix and lets him ride her through the galaxy towards Earth and drops him off. And he walks around and fucks people up for a while. He learns from this girl Mayumi that things used to be nice. There used to be squirrels until the Great Calamity, and now everything's all weird evil. He agrees to help her and these people, and she starts to travel with him. Whenever he beats people up, he kind of exorcises spirits from them that seem to be making them evil, and he can shoot a lot of finger blasts. They get to a bad guy and Mayumi falls into this pit trap that leads them to hell pretty much. In a pit where this big hand made of people grabs them. He beats all them demons, but he's overwhelmed. But before he loses, it turns out it's not really happening. He's still upstairs in this place, and the Phoenix Lady shows up and he turns big and gets armor and fights this dragon demon, and he prays and these words come out that turn into orbs that turn into swords, and he throws them at the dragon and slays the beast. He then prays over its body, releasing its spirit, which is this goddess that gives him the Shadow Sword. Then she flies off into a volcano. Isn't it wild that I didn't make any of that up? The Phoenix takes him to this other place and they walk through the forest, get caught by some forest hooligans, some Robin Hood types. And while they're at their camp, the Robin Hood types get hard killed by these evil soldiers until Seizan saves them. He could have got free whenever he wanted, but he only fights evil, not good people. And the people here tell him that one day a man showed up and gave gold to everyone in town, and everything he touches turns into gold. But soon after, he took over their home and ruled like a tyrant. Everyone who accepted his rule is being possessed by greedy spirits. So Seizan finds out where the bad guy is, breaks into his golden fortress and fights him. He gets illusioned at for a little bit, but a goddess helps him through it. He powers through and breaks the spell, turning the gold man into his real appearance, this big purple jester monster. He grabs his sword and goes full Saint Seiya. After a back and forth, he cuts that purple bitch in half and shoots him with a sword ray to free the angel in its arm and obtain the Orb of Bast. Then they ride a ship off into the sunset, and they shipwreck and end up separated at another city, a city where everyone does drugs and has their own vice, and they're all cool as fuck. Then he finds Mayumi being ritualed on by some freak masters, and they hold him back while they play a bone flute, and this big bird shows up but doesn't do anything, and they tell him he's got to go to this other mountain, and on the way there he runs into this crazy T-Rex, and I thought it looked pretty cool. It sucks that he beat it in like 10 seconds. He climbs the mountain that's alive and he beats its ass. He makes it to the top and steals the bird's egg, and when it goes to hurt him, it turns into another goddess who explains some stuff, turns back into a bird, and he rides it over to Mayumi and he pours the egg juice into her mouth and she wakes up. He tells her he wants her to stop traveling with him because he doesn't want her to get hurt, but she loves him and he loves her. She understands it's dangerous and doesn't care. Blech. Then the priests show up to fight him and they all combine into one big priest that then turns into a giant nasty rat with a scythe, and he brings forth the Sword of Omens and transforms. They fight, and when he cuts the rat into pieces, it turns into a bunch of tiny flying rats, but he throws the orb at them and they turn into ash. Then he prays over the ash and purifies the spirits, sending them all to heaven. And they give him the Forlorn Hope Mirror. The Phoenix flies them off to this planet where aliens are being forced to make pyramids. Yo, they are so desperate and starved that when one of them dies, they eat it quick. Seizan walks around and gets chased to these ruins. Things used to be good here until war happened and bombs were dropped. In the ruins, they find this secret underground super city. They find the Hall of Justice, and inside is a clock on the wall showing the time, or the year, I'm not sure. They wonder what happened, and this AI shows them humanity couldn't live together in peace, so the AI decided that they weren't worth saving, so it wiped them out. Back in the ruins, they fight some aliens, and yo, the fight scene is pretty smooth. Mayumi gets kidnapped though. They take her to these pyramids and he follows them, and he gets her back. But then he's gotta fight a big tentacle monster, and he beats her real quick, but he's tired. While he's recovering, these sphinxes come to life and start breathing fire. And Seizan and Mayumi fall into a sand pit. And down there's more alien folks and more ruins, and they gotta run. They hit some sewers and meet some hooded priestly folk. They also got a mirror where they see the past. Oh, there used to be beaches and eggplants, an AI with a person brain. Life was good until this Hitler type got touched by evil goo and set off all the bombs. And the people that were left over became these ghoulish alien figures we see today. Seizan prays away their pain, purifying them. Then he tries to get them out of there, and the AI god thing is trying to stop them, but it can't overcome the power of God and starts to malfunction. Outside, he's gotta fight them sphinxes again. So he summons the power of Grayskull and quickly defeats them. But they got a Mephisto on their side, and he throws Seizan into a tornado. But the Phoenix helps, and Seizan gets up and the battle continues. Out into space, where Mephisto multiplies and shoots laser beam. But with the 3 sacred artifacts and the power of prayer, he hits it with that and sends them to the shadow room. Back on Earth, he leads everyone in prayer that brings light back to their city. Then many gods rain down from the heavens, led by the Phoenix. She talks about a bunch of stuff, then flies away, ready to return if they ever need her again. The earth is green once more, and peace reigns. The credits roll. I give it. Those 3 items that he gathered are based on the 3 sacred treasures of Japan: the sword Kusanagi, the mirror Yara no Kagami, and the jewel Yasakani no Magatama. I was calling them by the names they're called in Eiyuu Gaiden. It's gonna be fun when we cover that show. Out of 10. Up next, released in November 21st, 1991, Eiyuu Gaiden Mozaicka. This is 4 30-minute episodes. 10 years ago on the mysterious planet Mozaicka, there was a rebellion against the evil King Sazada, whose terror reigns from his floating sky fortress that he put his face on, just so there's no mistaking who the person f***ing your shit up is. The leader of the rebellion was Dante, but he failed. Now his son Taduma carries that same goal in his heart. His father told him to seek out the sealed valley where there be demons and use the power of those demons to defeat Sazura. He gets there and there's a bunch of freaky statues that talk to him, and he asks for their strength, and they say nothing else. So he goes to sleep and dreams of demons. He awakes out of breath, and the old sage Riddish is there by the fire. He says that the demons won't awake until their stars align. Huh? What? Then he plays his lute and sings a foreshadowing song. Taduma sets out the next morning. Cut to Sazada. His current problem is Azuran, the leader of a newer group of rebels. Some of Sazada's forces have captured Minoza, Azuran's sister, so he sends Dada to the Magi Tower to question her. Out on his travels, Taduma finds this fuzzy wuzzy who's been caught and being hung upside down on this tree while birds pick at him. This is being done by Sazuran's soldiers, so Taduma goes into this bar and buys him some wine. But when he tries to give it to him, the soldiers go to stop him, and he starts cutting them down, and this bystander helps them out. Then they get the fuzzy boy and they try to run, but the bad guy's sick of fire dog on him, and they kill it, and all 3 of them get away. The fuzzy's name is Maruka, and he is the last of his fuzzy people. Sazura killed them all, and the guy helping them says that his name is Wind. Ooh, mysterious. And he goes out on his own. Maruka is one of Azuran's rebels, and he got caught, and now they're gonna go try and free the princess Minoza from the Magi Castle, the same place that Deta is going. Deta, who takes off in the Giant Arm Fortress, which is a floating fortress in the shape of a giant arm. When our heroes get there, Maruka explains for about 5 minutes why this place is impossible to break someone out of, then lets Taduma know how they're gonna do it. Distractions and wall scaling. And once they get her out of there, they're gonna escape through the desert, which always has a crazy sandstorm. But as we all know, that sandstorm stops once every 33 days when the red moon rises. And tonight is one of those nights. Can you imagine keeping up with that in this setting? I have a calendar and I forget what day it is most of the time. I'm just supposed to remember when it's been 33 nights. Before they start, Deta shows up in the Great Armed Fortress and begins to question Minoza. And during the interrogation, Deta cuts a butterfly in half by sticking his sword out and letting the butterfly fly into it. Yo, that's sharp. Minoza won't talk though. She ain't no snitch. So they plant an evil plant under her that will slowly strangle her. Maruka lets himself get caught, and once he gets put in a cell, he flashes a signal to Turuma so he knows where he's at and he knows where to climb to. And Turuma starts climbing while Riddish is playing another song far away. The climb is perilous and it takes all day, and his knife breaks and he's about to fall. But Maruka throws out a string and catches him. A string made of his hair. Once inside, they bust out of the cell and grab Minoza, but they're seen, so they're running, and they keep marching to the top of this tower. And now they're on the roof, and they're out of places to run. But Tsuruma has been holding this kite the entire time, and they're gonna use it to fly away. But this person throws a flange up there and cuts it real quick. Oops, oopsie, oh no. So they rappel down into a lower cell, and they're met by a bunch of guards. Looks like you're cornered like rats. No, I am the son of Dante, and by my sword, Sazura will be defeated. Yeah, that's all nice to say, but they're all about to get shot. They're standing proud though, as they face their death. When Wind shows up, and he cuts a bunch of them down. And while they're all fighting, Deta flies the giant armed fortress into the prison, and it starts to crumble. During the fight, Wind gets injured, and he passes out, and he gets found by some mercenaries, who decide to defect from Sazada. And as our heroes are escaping the crumbling tower, Tsuruma holds back their pursuers, while Maruka gets away with Minoza. After fighting the enemy back all night, Tsuruma goes into the desert, but the sandstorm has started again, and he walks until he passes out, right in front of the ancient egg, who speaks to him.
I have been here thousands of years and watched much. All you do is futile and will crumble to ash one day.
Tsuruma doesn't care. He must bring down Sazada.
Ah, interesting. You may have the will to escape this place.
All while Riddish is playing another song. Tsuruma gets back up and keeps walking until he finds these ruins, where there's water and snacks. And we learn that Wind's real name is Durahan, and he was once the Hurricane Knight, but he defected from Sazuran. Tsuruma keeps walking in the desert until he meets with Maruka and Azuran. He makes it to the rebel village where he dines with the people, but he was followed and must fight assassins sent by Deta. And Azuran and others come to help, and during the fight, Azuran is mortally wounded, and the attackers get away. On his deathbed, Azuran trusts Tsuruma with the hope of his people, and then Tsuruma leads them to the sealed valley where there be demons. And he meets up with Wind and the other mercenaries, and they all come up with a plan of attack against the armed fortress, then move to action, setting up traps and stuff, all while the ancient egg watches from far away. And when the giant armed fortress gets close, the battle starts. They set off explosions and drop logs and mobilize troops. But Deta fires the lightning cannon, which hits everything with lightning, killing hundreds on both sides. Then the enemy attacks, and it looks hopeless. Our heroes are being outnumbered, but Maruka charges anyway, taking out as many as he can, until finally he's shot down. Damn, man. He lets out one final scream, then falls. The last of the Fuzzy Wuzzies is dead. But as soon as he dies, one of the demons awakens, and it's huge, and it starts attacking the enemy forces. The battle continues, and more of our heroes fall as the ancient egg watches, not believing that this could even happen. Wind takes off his mask and fights as the Hurricane Knight, but then he's felled in battle as well. And the demon statues keep waking up one by one, turning the tide, and the rebels break into the armed fortress. But Deta sets loose the Hell Warrior, this huge purple beast, as Riddish starts to sing his final song. The demons manage to slay the Hell Warrior, and the ancient egg hatches, then arrives to watch it all unfold. It's this strange purple bird. Tsuruma's changing fate right in front of it, and it's never seen this before. But because it was an egg for so long, it quickly turns to sand. Watching this battle, watching its fate change, it was the last thing it wanted to do, knowing it would die after leaving its egg. Then Tsuruma commands a demon to take him to Deta. To do that, the demon picks him up, puts him in his arm, then motions his arm out, right? Like with like a hard point, and then cuts his arm off as he's pointing, and then the momentum sends his arm forward. That's pretty sick, but yo, your arm, playboy, you gonna need that. Tsuruma gets to Deta and they fight as the armed fortress crumbles, and everyone watches. And yo, Deta punches him in the face. Even with the help of the firing squad, Deta is winning the fight, and Tsuruma's completely disarmed, but he grabs one of Deta's horns that fell off of his helmet and stabs him in the neck, killing him. And everyone cheers. And the credits roll as we see the demons return to their slumber in the sealed valley. The future is bright for our heroes, and that's where it ends. I wonder what happens next. I give it. Yo, what was the point of the ancient egg? Bird was like, you can't change fate, Tsuruma. And then Tsuruma changed fate, and he said, damn, that's crazy. I'm dead. Out of 10. Next, released in November 21st, 1991, One Gatsu ni wa Christmas. We got a 45-minute Christmas tale. It's the Christmas season and Jesus is in the air. And this is Fujioka, who works at a shoe store. His co-worker's having woman trouble, so he comforts him with a hug. And this little girl hard stares through the window. Damn girl, what you looking at? Homies can hug, they can kiss too. They can let things get serious, move in together, and get a dog. That girl goes inside the store and tries on a bunch of different shoes, making Fujioka run around all crazy and help her for a while. And at the end, she acts like a brat and just leaves. Don't treat retail workers like this. It's already an annoying job without having customers. After work, he has dinner with Seiko, this woman he's in love with, but hasn't confessed to yet. When he gets home, his dad says that the vacant house next door had some lights on. They think it might be a thief, so he goes over there to check it out. He goes inside and he finds the girl from earlier. She moved in recently, and she's all alone in a room with just a chair, some snacks, and a teddy bear. And after he goes home, he can't stop thinking about her. And she comes over the next day to return his scarf. Her name's Mizuki. It turns out she's in college and a year older than him. Then that night, he hangs out with Seiko and he talks about Mizuki, how he feels bad for her. Seiko thinks that he might like that girl and tells him to go for it. But he says, "I love you, Seiko. I've always loved you." They get engaged and throw an engagement party. While they're all having fun, he looks over to Mizuki's house and he thinks about her being all alone and sad in that room with just that chair, some snacks, and a teddy bear. So they go over and invite her. And she says yeah and grabs her coat, but she doesn't put it on right away. So Fujioka snatches it off her and puts it on her, which is crazy. She's also a little too touchy with him as they're walking over to his house. And at the party, she acts like a brat. They tell her to get on out of here if she's gonna be acting like that, so they walk her back home. And when they drop her off at the door, she says she's not gonna let them get married. What? Then Fujioka goes to Seiko, "Yo, that was weird and awkward, huh? Yeah, let's kiss." On Christmas Eve, Fujioka goes over to Mizuki's place, rings the doorbell, and when there's no answer, he goes inside anyways. He finds her sleeping on the floor with no blankets, and she's all sick because of it. Anime characters get sick over anything. I know people who sleep exclusively on cold floors, and they good. They strong. While they're nursing her back to health at his place, they get a call that her father just passed away in the hospital, man. Damn, she going through it. When she gets better, she goes to see his body, remarking how no one will ever love her. Damn. They have a funeral for her father, and during it, she's at home and upset. Her father used to write her letters, so she puts them on top of the stove, and it starts a fire, and Fujioka runs over there to get her out. Then she has to go to the hospital for minor burns and smoke inhalation, and she tells Fujioka all about her life. Her dad was a writer and an alcoholic, and Christmas is her birthday, just like the Lord Jesus. Her and her mama would wait every Christmas for Papa to come home and have a good time, but every time he would come home angry and drunk and mess everything up. She never had a good birthday, and now her mom's dead. And while her mom was alive, she never had a good Christmas. So she hated her dad, and Christmas, and her birthday, and wintertime in general. She also don't f with snakes. But even now, she's waiting for her papa to come back home for Christmas, and she doesn't know how to feel. So she lashes out and does bad things. Fujioka says that he used to be a bad kid too, so he gets it. Sometimes you act up, and it's okay. They hug, and after that, she gets adopted. What? I thought more, I guess it's a symbolic adoption because she grown. Somebody need to adopt me, take care, pay my bills. Then Fujioka goes next door and puts a Christmas tree up in her abandoned room. He notices that he looks a little bit like that girl's father. Maybe that's why she was getting attached to him. Fujioka looks off into the snow and says some deep shit about Christmas until the credits roll, and it ends with a jazzy Christmas song. Merry Christmas. I give it. The name of the shoe store he worked at, which is called Shoes Whitewood. Out of 10. Next, releasing November 22nd, 1991, Ninja Gaiden. This is 49 minutes, and yes, it's based off the game with the same name. We open up with a little bit of lore. For centuries, the gods of evil have been trying to destroy humanity, but the gods of dragons have held them back. Cut to a city at night. A don't walk sign is flashing. You know, I've always taken those as more suggestion than law. A man with a katana is being chased by some sketchy figures. When they corner him, he draws his sword and defeats them easily. He loots their bodies and finds an ID card before one of them explodes. This is Ryu Hayabusa, the owner of Ryu's Japanese shop in New York City. He sells Japanese antiques, but truly he is the dragon ninja, here to stop the evil gods from ever returning. Irene's this woman that works at his shop, and when he gets home at night, she's ready to shoot. Yo, she's searching for that thing. New York's dangerous. He tells her he can't make it to her birthday dinner. Aw, she's all bummed. And later on, she talks to her friend Sarah. She doesn't know how he feels about her. She really loves him though. Sarah says that she'll figure it out. And then we get a montage. Look at this, listen to this montage music. Cut over to Surgeon and Hammond Detective Agency. Sarah's asking Robert to see if Ryu likes Irene, since they're friends. While they're talking, they see in the Daily Times newspaper that a scientist, Ned Freeman, has cured cancer. There's another article I would like to read. It just says, Bush says, allies give. What's that about? Cut to Ryu. The ID card he found was to the Friedman Corporation. Huh? Sketchy. Then he walks by Friedman's house and hears a girl calling out for help that no one else seems to hear. Strange. Well, the detective agency heard a rumor about said outside screams and goes to check it out. So they break into Friedman's house and walk around, and eventually they run into Ryu, who was also there checking it out. And they find a room with strange human experiments, and they were taking pictures, and Ryu takes their footage and tells them to not run the story. Later, Robert confronts Ryu. Robert used to be in the army and once helped Ryu stop someone from undoing the seal of the evil gods. After that, Robert quit the army and swore to help Ryu should anyone ever try it again. And it seems that Friedman is doing just that, but Ryu doesn't want to accept his help. He doesn't want anyone to get hurt. This is his sole responsibility as the dragon ninja, so he ninjas away to deal with it alone. Sarah goes to one Professor Bucky Wise, who tells them, yeah, I knew Friedman, the guy's crazy. Then they leave, and his cat meows and he gives a suspicious smirk. They're back working at Ryu's shop and Irene's apron says VIP. Yo, I like that, I want one. While they're closing up the store, Bucky Wise's cat comes in and does a creepy meow. Then some evil ninjas show up and Ryu fights them off, and yo, the fight scenes in this show are nice. They aren't just repeated slashes. Look at him slide, man, this shit clean to go cut this dude. One of them almost gets Irene, but she shoots it. Then she gets the first kill, shakes. That damn look in her eyes. Now she has a taste for blood. Nah, I'm playing. The cops show up after everything's done, which is normal for America. Look at this one. He goes up to a dead body, puts his shotgun right to his head. Why? What's he doing? You making sure you gonna shoot if he moves? He could be good. Ryun gets Irene out of there and tells her it's too dangerous around him. She's gotta go far away. She tells him that she'll wait for him forever. She'll always love him. She's gonna skip town, but before she can, she gets kidnapped. Oh no! Robert and crew give chase and they try to save her, but they get outmaneuvered. That night, Ryu storms the evil enemy base. He's gotta fight mer people and other animal people. The crew gets armed and goes to help him. They're all in there destroying animal people, and then while Jeff is slaughtering some of them, he starts shaking. He says he used to be a mercenary and loved killing. He didn't want to feel like that anymore, so he moved to America and tried to leave it all behind him. But look, he still loves it. And Robert tells him, hey, we're all like that. Humans love violence and drinking in the company of a man or woman. We just keep all those instincts in check and try to live with each other peacefully. You aren't a bad person, Jeff. Damn, man, I wasn't expecting some beautiful wisdom from this show. Ryu hears that voice asking for help again. What's going on? And he finds a room with a lab assistant who tells him that they're trying to make superhumans. Why is it that the experiment to make superhumans is always to mix people with animals and make these animals? I don't know if that's the way, man. Friedman is watching Ryu on this security camera and it's labeled secret room, and that's just funny to me. That's their secret room. So you gotta write, don't just call it like room 6. I don't know why you gotta call it. They took the time to do that, to make sure it was typed out for that security camera. Ryu blows the room up. Back to Robert and Jeff. Jeff gets injured saving Robert. Yo, he hand fights one of them animal people, which is crazy. But his leg gets bit and he can't move. And he tells Robert to go ahead. They'll have a beer at the bar after this is over. Robert goes on, but a ton of monster people are coming down the hallway toward Jeff. So Jeff lights a cigarette, then sets off a bunch of explosions. Damn. Ryu gets to Friedman and Irene, and Friedman monologues for a bit about bringing back the evil gods. But while he's talking, Bucky Wise comes down from the ceiling and stabs him in the back. See, Bucky Wise was just using Friedman. He had his daughter hostage and forced him to do this. Then he brings the daughter out and stabs her father in front of her. She doesn't really seem to care. This is also the girl that Ryu has been hearing ask for help. Now Bucky Wise has all this evil power and a piece of the evil gods, so he can summon them. Ryu says he doesn't care, that as long as there is evil, he can never truly be happy with Irene. They can never have a normal life, so that is why he fights, because he loves her. Bucky Wise transforms into a weird green thing, and they fight, and the fight makes its way to the roof outside, and they're evenly matched until Bucky Wise gets the upper hand. He has Ryu pinned and stabs him in the shoulder, and Irene runs up and grabs Ryu's sword to try to help him, but it's useless. Or is it? It gave Ryu enough time to stand up and grab his sword, and Bucky Wise rushes him and they fall off the side of the building. In the air, Ryu does a magic blue sword slash, and they both land injured. When Bucky tries to get away, Ryu summons what's left of his power for one more dragon ninja slash, stabbing Bucky off the side of the building and crashing into a statue. They both pass out. It turns out Jeff survived. Yay! He walks up holding Catherine. Then they get down to Ryu and Irene cries over his body, but he's not dead, just tired. The friends get out of there and the sun rises. As they celebrate, Catherine picks up a piece of the old gods, and the creepy cat does a creepy meow. So it looks like things aren't over for our heroes. But that doesn't stop Ryu from kissing Irene as the credits roll. Yo, this was cool. I liked it. I give it. This show had a lot of background signs, so let's check them out. Les Mis is playing in town. I want to eat at Pizzeria Dino. Bank. Homies reading the Daily Yamayuri. They drink at Bradley's bar. What the hell is La Bille? Also Victoria. I guess that's Victoria's Secret. Does this sign say delicate revenue? I'm not sure. And of course, the West End Cafe had to make an appearance. Out of 10. Next, releasing November 22nd, 1991, here is Greenwood. We got 6 30-minute episodes and Johnny Young Bosch as Kazuya Hasakawa. He's a high school boy in love with an older woman, Sumire, but his brother recently married Sumire and he can't stand being at home around them all in love. It breaks his heart, so he decides to live at the dorm of his new high school, Ryokuto Academy. He's starting a month late because of several unfortunate circumstances after another, but he's here now. He meets Shinobu and Mitsuru. They're second years and they're gonna be showing him around. They show him to the dorms, which they call Greenwood. And I don't know why they call it that. When they show him to his room, his new dorm mate is a girl. What? This is about to get wacky. What? This is gonna be crazy, huh? Her name's Shun, and she was raised as a boy but is a girl. Oh boy, he's got his work cut out for him. Ah, frick. Ah, frick. He starts school and things are tough since he's a month behind everybody. Plus, his brother, one of the people he's trying to avoid, is the school nurse. Can anything go right for our guy Kazuya? Well, one day he goes to the bathroom and sees Shun at the urinal. Whoops! That leads to some funny dialogue.
What was that just now, huh? Why don't you show it to me?
It turns out that they were just messing with them. Shun is a guy, and they were placing bets to see how long it would take him to figure it out. Well, he doesn't like being messed with, so he punches Mitsuru. 2 months pass, the 4 of them become decent buds, and he's making it through all his classes. He's getting used to all the strange people who live here. During summer break, he stays at the dorm to enjoy a summer away from home. He can avoid Sumire and his brother while he's here. Well, Sumire comes to visit him, and when she hugs him, he pushes her away and runs. Ugh. She leaves sad. She thinks that he hates her. More time passes and we get to winter break. He plans to stay again, but the dorms are closed for winter break. He doesn't know what to do and almost turns to religion. At the end, he decides to just deal with his problems and go home. And you know what? He ends up having a good time. Then school starts back up in January and his jacket says all present. Yo, I want that. So between episodes, things happen in the manga that they don't show in the show. So yeah, the next thing that happens. Shinobu has an older sister, Nagisa, who hated him since they were kids because he's so perfect. In the manga, Nagisa kidnapped Mitsuru, but they resolved the situation. Well, she didn't learn her lesson and she kidnaps Shun's little brother, Reina, thinking it's Shun's little sister since they look like girls. And she starts being really freaky with him, which is so weird. He's 13. Even if it's a girl, it's 13. Come on. They hold Reina hostage and then she shoots a dart message at Shinobu with this like sniper that shoots faraway darts to tell him that she's got a hostage. So Reina's hostage and being chaperoned by goons, and he keeps making the goons go out and buy him snacks. While this one's shopping for some cheese bread, he sees some Dick D2 razors. That's a little more crass than something like Manscaped, who happens to be today's sponsor. I'm lying, there's no sponsor, I'm broke. Nagisa calls Shinobu on a payphone because this takes place in the 90s and tells him about the hostage and where to go next. Then Shinobu calls Mitsuru and we don't hear what the conversation is about, but he starts moving on his own. Then Shinobu goes against Nagisa's demands and just starts smoking a cigarette. While Shun and Kazuya are out shopping, they recognize one of Nagisa's thugs and follow him because they think he's sketch. And they all start making their way to where Reina's being held. Reina takes a shower and says,
"No peeking, got it?"
And then the guy goes,
"How can I not?"
Maybe because he's a child, you know, maybe that could stop you. Anime be weird. The whole crew ends up arriving at the spot at the same time and they get to the apartment and grab Reina. As Nagisa tries to escape, Shinobu shows up with a gun and goes to shoot his sister. But it's just a little BB gun. They all get home happy and stole a bunch of dossiers that she had on each of them and have a fun time reading it. Later, the school is putting on a talent show and the winner is going to get a big budget increase and the Greenwood dorm decides to enter. They're going to film a live action fantasy movie. They try to recruit Kazuya and he really doesn't want to do it, but then they tell him there's gonna be a girl for him to kiss, so he agrees to do it. He's a simple dummy. The whole dorm helps out. It's great. Everyone really comes together. Kazuya's resistant the entire time, but they start filming. The movie's about them on a quest to go kill the Devil King. They film in a field, at the pool, a park full of kids, which seems awkward, a boat dock, a forest. They got people who can do CGI and like special effects and people making like little models for them. I don't know how they did a crumbling castle special effect in a high school dorm room in the 90s. But hey, it's not a real thing. This is just a show. At the end, they never found a girl to play the princess, so they end up having to use Shun. So Kazuya did it all for nothing. They finished the movie and all watched it as a group and everyone had so much fun making it. Then it shows what Shun was working on and it's a neat Lupin the Third play where the set is like a picture on the ground and they're like falling and they got like a ropes to pull. I thought it was cool. I don't think it said who won the talent show. Next, they gotta deal with the ghost girl. She gives Mitsuru a weird dream that scares him awake. Then a stray cat meows at at him weird because he's being haunted. And that night the power goes out and the ghost shows itself. It's this girl. The power comes back on and everyone talks to her. Her name's Masako and she has to resolve her issues before she can pass on. And she's haunting Mitsuru. And she tells us she isn't sure why. And everyone says, oh cool, well good luck with that. That's not our problem. Good luck, Mitsuru. So I guess ghosts are just an accepted thing in this world because everyone here is so chill about it. Mitsuru hates it. He's mean to her and keeps getting annoyed by her. She can't touch things, but when she cries, her tears wet this blanket. That's a little, that's inconsistent. Masako's following Mitsuru everywhere. She goes into the group bath with them. And when the other guys see her, they go, oh, well, we can't go in there. She's in there. Yeah, okay. We can get naked in front of each other all day. But a ghost girl? That would be insane. Mitsuru keeps being mean to her. When she cries, everything gets all shaken until she calms down. The guys are complaining about it without Mitsuru and passing around a tall boy. High school drinking where everybody shared one beer. Yo, these days we take a 40 solo to the head. You know what I'm saying? Masako goes to talk to the dorm mother and tells her what's up. She died with the unfulfilled dream of meeting a cool guy. So she decided to haunt Mitsuru because he seems cool. Well, Mitsuru overhears this and he decides to take her out on the date, help her pass on. And I'm lying. He gets even angrier and tells her to get out of the dorm, which makes her go all crazy and messes up the entire building. They calm her down and eventually she says that she just wants a kiss. One kiss. But she can't touch nothing. But she can possess people. But no one is gonna let themselves get possessed and kiss a dude? Nah, man. So she spirits away. But later she possesses a cat. And when Mitsuru picks it up, it gives him a smooch. That's the second show I've covered where a cat kisses a person. Now that she's kissed them, she can pass on. Only she doesn't. She comes back later with a bunch of other ghost girls, one for each of the guys. Oh boy, this is just getting all crazy. I don't get why they're all so against it. They're like all scared and running away. Ghost Girlfriend is the entire plot to other shows. That part ends. Time passes. Kazuya becomes the head of the dorm and gets another crush on a girl with a boyfriend, Igarashi. She's an old friend of Mitsuru. One night she comes up asking for a place to crash at the dorm. She's a member of her school's gang, and a gang from another school is after her. I forgot these fools even go to school. It only ever shows them at the dorm. Kazuya lets her crash at Greenwood for the night because the enemy gang is waiting at her house. Because of this, Mitsuru sleeps on the floor and catches a cold. Why are anime characters so weak to sleeping on the floor? The next day, Kazuya meets Igarashi at McDonald's. Just a regular McDonald's, no silly name here. They sneak her back into the dorm that night, but she feels that she's overstayed her welcome, so she goes to leave. And Kazuya asks what's really the matter. Is it really just this gang? She says that her house is haunted, so she doesn't want to go home. I don't know. Then he tells her, yo, that's okay. Sometimes houses just make noise. You might not be haunted. There's ghosts here. I can show you a ghost right now. She wants to kiss me. She decides to go home after this, and Kazuya walks her there. On the way home, she tells him more of her problems. She got a boyfriend that she thinks is too good for her, and she wants him to leave her, blah, 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 blah. When she gets close to her home, some of the enemy gang is there and tells her to meet at the bridge tonight. And Kazuya gets back to the dorm and tells the crew. And they get a whole bunch of people ready, and everyone meets at the bridge with her to back her up. And the bad guys get scared and book it. Afterwards, they go to the dorm, and her boyfriend gets there to walk her home. And Kazuya gets all doughy-eyed watching her leave. Later, Igarashi shows up to thank Kazuya for helping her, but she runs away nervous before she can. Back at school, we watch Kazuya run a race to a song while thinking about Igarashi. Then he goes to Mitsuru's family temple to help clean it up. He meets Mitsuru's family and learns about him. Mitsuru was left here as a baby and they took him in. And his family loves him and treats him like their own. But he's got it in his head that he's not really their family since he was adopted, that he doesn't belong. That's why he stays at the dorm. He doesn't want to be a bother, a burden. Coming from a guy who comes from a somewhat similar situation, family isn't who you were born from. It's what you make it. On their way home, they run into Igarashi and her boyfriend. She awkwardly thanks Kazuya and her boyfriend notices that she likes him. Kazuya likes her too. Ooh, he doesn't know what to do. He asks his brother what he would do if he liked a girl with a boyfriend. Would you just go after her still? His brother says he wouldn't give up no matter what. You know, coming from a guy who was in a somewhat similar situation, I agree. If you want them, go for it. You never know. Mitsuru gives Kazuya Igarashi's number and he calls her. And Igarashi picks up the phone, and when she hears it's Kazuya, she hangs up nervous. And he gets bummed out. And his friends meet to talk shit about him. He ain't giving up though. He asks for her address, which is crazy. So they tell him to go to her school instead. It's still crazy, but you know, dial it back. So he stands outside and waits for her, but she never comes out. Day after day, he waits, but he never sees her. One of the girls at the school tells them that she broke her arm and has been in the hospital. Then they go to the hospital she's at, but she's been discharged. Kazuya has terrible luck. Then he shows up to wait for her again until her boyfriend shows up and tells him to stop. Kazuya says he loves her. When she finally comes out, she runs away. She's all confused and her boyfriend tells her not to worry. He'll always protect her. Igarashi cries and tells him something that we can't hear, but they get into some kind of argument. Kazuya's back at school bummed. But after class, Igarashi's waiting outside of his school for him. She apologizes for ignoring him. She got into a fight with her boyfriend and her mom's mad at her. But even after all that, she still wanted to see Kazuya. He tells her it's alright and she falls forward into his arms. And the entire school was watching, so they throw their umbrellas up into the air and they all cheer. The credits roll. We get an ending card that says, "Second love, always be with you, Finn." What a happy and fun little show. I give it. I love shows about a group of friends. I love watching camaraderie and homies just having each other's backs. There was a good bit of that in this show. Even when they give each other hell, they're still loyal to each other. Out of 10. Up next, releasing November 28th, 1991, Dark Cat. This is 50 minutes and the train is about to go off the rails. And as we all know, a train needs rails. We open up and see a couple people evaporate suddenly. Then we see a young man help a blue ghost pass on to the next life. This is Hiyoi. He's got magic powers and can turn into a cat, and his brother Ryo has the same powers, and they fight against evil stuff. Hiyoi is also a new transfer student, and when he introduces himself to one of the girls in his class, he goes for a handshake. Look how close he puts his hand to her head. Yo, that's awkward. Here, shake my hand. Yeah. The brothers are at this school because they sense an evil presence. At school, this girl Aimi is being treated harshly by a teacher, so Ryo steps in to stand up for her, and the teacher says, see me after class. And she's gonna punish him, and the punishment gets a little sensual. And when the teacher gets close, a weird pink demon comes out of her mouth, but Hiyoi comes in and distracts her, so Ryoi kicks her off of him. That's right, folks, we got pink demons in this one. If you aren't into that, move on to the next show. I know I hated it. She gets back up and jumps out the window, and they give chase. And look at this tiny truck. Yo, that's cute. Where's he go? He's got small deliveries. They chase her to this field, and she turns into a full-on pink dick demon tree, and this green demon eats it. And this is Juko Kubo. He trained them to use their dark cat powers, but they have to stop him because he's doing evil stuff. So they fight him, and Juko Kubo beats them up really easy for a while until Hiyoi summons the sword of the dark cat, and it makes Juko Kubo leave for the moment. But Hioi's hurt, and Ryoi takes him to the forest so the trees can heal him. They find a white cat who leads them to a tree where the power of the land, spirits, and oceans will heal him. The forest sings for his recovery and it accepts him. Meanwhile, Juko Kubo summons evil spirits. The spirits use the dark feelings that live in people's hearts, and it turns them into the pink demon dick tree things. And while Hiyoi is healing, Ryoi goes out to fight the demons and protect whoever he can. Time passes, Hiyoi heals, and they await Juko Kubo's next attack, which comes at class, where he turns a bunch of kids into the demons. Okay, there's been a B plot this whole time that I haven't mentioned, where this girl loves a guy, but he was in love with another girl, and that girl turned him down, and he's heartbroken. And a girl that loves him, she's heartbroken that he's heartbroken about another girl. But Juko Kubo takes advantage of those feelings to turn her into a pink demon. And the brothers show up, and Hiyoi fights Juko Kubo in the rain, while Ryoi tries to save the girl who got turned into a demon. Up in the sky, Hyoi's fighting Juko Kubo, who turns into this kind of cute demon tiger. Why they give it a cute face? Why now? I've been having to stare at weird, gross demons for 43 minutes. Why couldn't they all be cute? The boy that the girl loves slowly walks towards her while she's in her transformed demon state, and he accepts her love, and they hug naked, and then explode into a pillar of fire. Up in the sky where Juko Kubo and Hiyoi are fighting, Hiyoi slashes him and knocks him into the pillar, where he burns up, but swears he will never truly be defeated. With the enemy defeated for now, the brothers walk off into the street where they say that they must always work together to fight off the evil in the world, and the credits roll. I give it. I'm pretty sure this show was dubbed by people they found walking around a mall.
Okay, oh, Kakizaki, met your brother. He seemed nice. He's a great guy.
We'll send him my regards.
Send him your regards? She didn't say she was going to meet him. She said she met him. What are you talking about? And aren't you gonna see him later? Why does he need your regards? This part I think is an outtake they just left in, because look, she says,
Who's that?
Oh, didn't I tell you?
Didn't I tell you? And then she stops and then she goes, didn't I tell you?
He's coming over.
Oh, didn't I tell you?
Let's split before they both get their periods.
Besides, I've been seeing someone else. You know what I mean?
You know what I mean? Yeah, I know what you mean. You didn't say any. That's not a you know what I mean sentence. Listen to him transform from a cat.
My power is greater than either of you could ever understand.
Brother, are we a match for his power?
No, it's greater than either of you can understand. He just said that. Yo, the fight noises he makes while getting beat up. And then this moan?
The sword, brother! Use the sword!
Okay, now there's this character, and this guy's just using a different microphone than everyone else.
I'm tired and I'm depressed. Hey man, I'm not some trick pony that you see at the sideshow at the seashore. Cut me some slack pops and let me go home. I'm never gonna have a real girlfriend. I'm gonna be by myself forever.
Out of 10. Up next, releasing November 29th, 1991, Inferious Wakusei Senshi Gaiden Condition Green. This is 6 24-minute episodes. Far away in the Inferious galaxy, the evil Emperor of Gazaran tried to take over 3 planets. He conquered 2 of them, but the war still rages on planet Emerald Earth. The Gazaran's main force on the ground is the Moby Dick, this crazy battle fortress. It looks nasty, like it's made of living parts. Cut to Keith Winter. He was in charge of a platoon in the war that was wiped out, and as he watched his men die, he lost it and walked slowly right at the enemy line, blasting. No. Somehow he survived. 10 days later, he's discharged from the hospital, and his little sister Maria comes to check up on him. She's like a nun or something. So does Mireille, a member of the military, and she also likes him a lot, and he likes her. She tells him that his orders are to report to headquarters. Up in space, the Gazaran forces are talking about taking over the Earth, and Giotto is in charge up there. He's this 3-eyed green man, real evil. Looks like he goes, but that's just like judging the book by its cover, you know, he might not do that. Later, Maria's working at this soup kitchen when this little boy Barney almost knocks her over, and then Jan helps her out. Jan is a Uronian, and the people here don't like Uronians because they sided with the Gazarans in the war. Uronians just kind of have like elf ears, and they seem to have some kind of powers. The people here want to hurt him, but Maria says he ain't done nothing, and he tells her it's okay, and he leaves. Keith reports to HQ, where they tell him that they want him to be the leader of a new platoon, the 801st. There will be a secret unit sent on secret missions. Keith turns it down. He is sworn to never leave anyone ever again after letting all his men die. Cut to Angie, another little kid that Maria takes care of. She's walking home with dinner when this dude picks her up by the head, and Barney tries to save her, but the guy beats Barney up. That's when the protag music kicks in and we meet Sho, this blue-haired guy. He's a badass, and he tells him to pick on someone his own size and starts to beat him up. And then another soldier, Edward, gets there to help too, and they beat him up, but Barney's still all hurt. Looks like he's not gonna make it. That's when Jan comes up and does a little magic to heal the boy. I see he ain't so bad. Keith goes to talk to his old friend Father George, who has a pet squirrel, Patty. While they're chatting, Gazaran forces attack the city, and everyone moves into action. The army mobilizes the defense, and the main heroes we've met go out and show off all their skills fighting the bad enemies. During the battle, Barney and Angie are caught by Gazaran forces. Cut back to space. Paula here is helping control the mobile fortress Moby Dick. She helps run the system, and well, she starts kind of having sex with it. See, the fortress, there's a person's mind in there, a guy she was in love with dying, and they love each other, and they can kind of, you know, flash lights and have moments together. Back to the fight. Our guys have what's left of the Gazaran forces cornered, but they can't move in because they have Barney and Angie hostage. Everyone's outside trying to come up with a plan of attack when Maria storms right in, screaming their names. Barney, Angie. She's shot down because, of course, and the others take advantage of the situation to storm in and take out the rest of the enemy. Keith is holding Maria's body and cries, and everyone's standing by his side. He walks her out and remembers the good times, and he buries her and carries her necklace with him. Man, it was her own fault. Why'd she run? There were soldiers outside next to other dead soldiers. Why'd you just run straight in? And she'd been running from him. She started running a while ago. After that, Keith resolves to lead the 801st platoon, and on the team we have Father George, also Jan the Uronian, Sho, he's fire on computer, and Edward, an ace shot. Together they are condition green. The mobile fortress fires a missile and destroys the city. Then the enemy sends out a broadcast demanding Earth's surrender. Earth forces want to respond with a missile attack of their own, but the enemy has a missile defense tower stopping them, so they send out the 801st to disable the tower. They get there and Sho flies his little turtle drone to case the joint before they go in. The plan looks good, but a spy overhears it and alerts the Gazaran forces, so now the troops outside have to deal with the resistance. The 801st make it to the control room and they're dismantling things when Liza shows up. She's a Gazaran soldier and starts whooping these fools around. Keith takes her on one-on-one and she gets the upper hand, but he keeps her distracted long enough for Sho to break into the mainframe. He drops the defenses and the troops outside fire missiles at the base. Instead of killing Liza, Keith tells her to get out of here before the base is destroyed, and she grabs her sword and puts it back between her titties and escapes. The 801st get out of there too. Mission accomplished. Later, Mirai meets with the scientist who made a secret thing and they transport him to a secret place, and on the way there they get attacked by Liza. She beats everyone and is gonna take the thingy from Mirai, but Mirai throws a stick at her in the face. Oh snap, yo. Liza looking at her like, I know this motherfucker didn't just throw a stick at me. Then using her Uronian powers, Liza can sense that Mirai keeps woman, so she captures Mirai and the thingy. Then it shows Barney go out and buy some milk. Keith hears that Mirai has been captured and they send him and the 801st to go get her and the thingy back, and Barney gets an apple. Back to Mirai and Liza. Liza drops the item and it goes off and it hurts her. It's called the Cyclorega. It's designed to just disrupt Uronians, maybe even kill them within a very wide range. So it messes with Liza and Jan. Also the Moby Dick, since the mind controlling it is a Uronian. Mayura stops the Cyclorega, then asks Liza if she's alright. So Liza gets up and smacks the shit out of her. Yeah, I'm alright. Don't be asking me questions. The 801st get there and Keith runs in and gets Mirai while the rest distract Liza. During the fight, the Cyclorega goes off again and the ruins start to crumble. Keith tries to save Liza, but she falls into this crevasse. But she's fine, barely hurt her. And the Cyclorega gets crushed and the day is saved. Later, Jado takes control of the Moby Dick and he has it destroying everything. And Paolo can hear Dime in there crying. He hates it, but there's nothing she can do. It's in the 801st out there to try to figure out anything. Just them getting close and doing recon almost gets them killed. Up in space, Paula's all sad and it turns out her and Liza are sisters. Liza says that she'll go down there and stop Moby Dick. It isn't right to just slaughter and destroy everything. Meanwhile, Jado's just up in space laughing. Yo, he evil. He do sound like what I thought he sound like. And then for a minute, it lets us see Sho's past. He used to live on that farm from the first episode of Dragon Ball Z, but then the Gazarans attacked and he lost his arm and his mommy. Meanwhile, Moby Dick continues forward, sucking up the life force of everything it passes. Hala's trying to do something about that, but Jado comes in and fries her computer. So she shoots him with a purple laser and he disintegrates. But she don't know though, Purple lasers never work on green aliens. He chokes out Paula sensually and puts her in this tube, and Liza can feel that through the bond of sisterhood. So she goes back up to the space station and finds everyone all gross dead. She gets to Paula's tube and Jado shows up and is all, oh ho ho, there's little you can do, foolish one. Liza grabs Paula and he tries to stop them, but they teleport to the Moby Dick. Guess they can just do that. Then Liza gives up the rest of her life force to save Paula. Damn, man. Back at the 801st, the time for watching is over. They move in on the battle fortress Moby Dick. Sho and Father manage to get on top of it. While they're making their way inside, Sho is shot in the leg, but they have an opening, but it's closing. So Father George holds it open for a while. Then Sho gets inside, but Father George, he gets crushed. Damn, man, I liked Father George. Paula walks into the Moby Dick until she gets to the computer and she can talk to Dime. While talking to him, she gets through to him long enough for Sho to hack into the mainframe and stop the Moby Dick. Then Sho manages to take control of this purple energy and he sends it up to space and it kills Jado, but Sho dies in the process. Keith can do nothing but watch from where he's at. Then the credits just roll and it looks like the Moby Dick has been out of commission long enough for plant life to grow on it. And that's where it ends. You don't get to see what everybody did afterwards. I give it. Every episode ends with still shots of what happened after the credits. It gives everything a kind of like final episode vibe. I dug it. It was kind of neat. Out of 10. Now let me hit you with some stats. In those 10 shows, we have 2 orphans, 2 chosen ones, 1 sports show, 1 about Christmas, 3 about war, 3 with a very strange future, lots of good background signs, 1 that was based on a children's book, and 3 characters that got sick from just a stroll in the rain or sleeping on the floor. Yep, another fun time. Peace out. Love you. See you later.